David Royale, also known as Saitama, has really made his way here on YouTube by having some really well-edited videos and also kind of leaning into the shorts side of things here. You have no idea how hard that was for me to put out with my speech impediments. If you want really streamlined information on the pauper format, he's definitely your channel. We sit down to talk about his run in the Pro Tour, how he got started in content creation, his lean into editing, other formats, but why he only makes content on the pauper format, and a little bit of Magic Arena as we sit down to shuffle up our cards and play each other in this week's player profile.
I have listed the top 10 cards of Lord of the Rings for Pauper.
Alright, so today we got none other than Saitama, or David Royale, hanging out playing some Magic. What's going on?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Debating if this is a keepable hand. I think I'm going to keep it. So, I'm pretty excited to talk to you, because in terms of like Magic content creation and stuff... Uh-oh, what's this? Reckoner Raid.
It's
okay.
fun,
Okay. I one of my favorite cards in Pauper. When you see a lot of content creators, a lot of people are just kind of running through games and stuff. But you're kind of doing a lot of different stuff. You're kind of focusing in a little bit on the shorts. When you're running through games and stuff, you're a lot more, I don't know how to say this, but you're a lot more edited. You're a lot more focused on that production and stuff. And so I just wanted to know, like, on the side of the content creation, like, how do you go about your process and like making the videos, and what made you decide to go the more heavier edited route rather than kind of the more relaxed gaming route?
So it's interesting because it kind of goes back to YouTube content creation as a whole, to say, to some extent, because first I had to like notice what are my weak spots. As you may have noticed, I don't have a great accent because I'm not a native English speaker. So if I had to come to like to do better than other creators, I had to stand out somewhere. And I just saw what was working for some other creators, like Harry MTG.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he was doing was actually doing very good video editing for their videos, trying to get concise. Like he's in his, if you go to his channel, he's not gonna go and do like a whole league with 5 hours on them.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna basically showcase the most important parts and edit them the most, so the public can enjoy it the most. So basically, try to copy that in a sense, but really it comes down to just what the people are interested the most and what they want to watch the most. Because again, a lot of people do like 10 hours on. Let's see, what do I do here? Probably this. 10 hours of video gameplay, but what I heard is like, okay, I'm gonna jump into the ball, and then I'm gonna just look at one game and then click out. Like
Right.
that works great for people like Andrea Mengucci, LSB, because people will kind of like always be there for them to watch their videos. But to me, it's kind of hard because I'm not well known. So what I need to do is to kind of play with the YouTube algorithm and say, well, I need more watch time on my videos. And how do I get more watch time to the videos? Well, giving the YouTube algorithm more signals for to say that the people like my actual content. You know what I mean? And one of those things is having more attention.
Right. So with the whole algorithm thing, I think a lot of people know that. Oh man, that's shorts are kind of like juiced right now in a way of getting eyes on your channel, eyes on your video and stuff. And I've dove into the shorts quite a bit on my second channel. I think I'm pretty just dead here. think I'm too slow. But how do you see like did you take that into mind when you started going into shorts, and like how have you seen shorts kind of help your reach and your kind of splash in the algorithm?
Um, it's like it's not very impactful, but I use shorts not in a way where I because long form content and short form content are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I know a lot of channels go hard on long form content just because, sorry, on short form content because it's the the thing that they do the most,
Mm-hmm.
but and how they get traction to their channels. But in my case, I just use it as a way to get extra views on the long form content. So what I do is I look at I create a video
Mm-hmm.
for long form, like let's say I brew this pauper deck, and um, if I want to have more views on that one particular video, I just create a short form content to it. So it's like having that extra bump to those to the of views for those long form content video that I create based on the short form content video.
So it's kind of like you like I know a lot of people kind of do that too. You're kind of pseudo using shorts also to promote your longer videos as like a commercial in a
Yep.
way. Which do you
Yeah.
see like it pulling in like a lot of people when you're looking at your analytics?
Um. No, not many, because I feel like if a short gets like 2,000 views, let's say, I'm happy if I just get like 10 or 20 out of those,
Mm-hmm.
because what does that is that even if it's just that low amount of views on my long form content, um, it gets into the user history. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if I get them to watch a long form video based on a short form content, what this do is that the YouTube algorithm will say, "Hey, they like this long form content. I will start getting giving the user more similar videos to that." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that those 10 views that I get from the uh, short form content into long form uh, probably get multiplied based on the number of videos that I have available on my
Right.
YouTube channel.
Your videos are super digestible too, where I think you have that heavier editing style to them. Do you like think like how's your like your watch time on those? Like I feel like your videos are just so they flow so smoothly and so quickly that if you have somebody who is like my videos, like I'm just doing the streams of Magic, can go on up to like 2 hours. And so like I feel like when you have these really long videos, there's like a drop off pretty quick, but like yours where they're so compact, so lean to them, do you feel like that is like helping your watch time, which is going to push you even more in the algorithm? Because you on your channel, not to ramble here for a second, your channel um kept like just popping up. Like your thumbnails are really great. It just felt like your channel just kept popping up, and I just kept clicking on it because it was great content. So do you feel like that's like helping you out?
Yeah, for sure. Like it goes back again to the algorithm, because as a part of a standing out, like it says, I can do like 1 hour of a video
Mm-hmm.
of a league right now. But the thing is that based on previous numbers, because this is like my second time going back um into content creation, because I do it for a year just for fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to see the numbers, and I was pulling non-edited videos there,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw retention basically um, like somewhere around 10% on my videos, which is probably not great. But if you want YouTube to push your content, you should have, I don't know, around probably around 40, 30 to 40. That's the number I push the most.
It's pretty good. So when you're going through these videos, like where you are so much like heavier edited, like you have some good like editing effects too, transitions and things like that. Oh, the ambusher, eh? Love this card. Um, how long
Yeah.
is like your editing process? Like how much is your like are you trimming out and stuff?
A lot. That's a very time consuming. Like I spend like in order to get a gameplay video, an actual gameplay video, I need to edit for 2 days.
Yeah.
Because I get tired at some point. But it's like probably 2 days because I don't know if you want me to outline the process. I don't want to bore you here.
No, yeah, let's do it. I have an editing background, and which doesn't
Oh,
say
okay.
much because I don't do much on the gaming channel for editing. But I would love to hear like your process and stuff.
Oh, great. So what I basically do is first I do the video recording,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you have noticed right now, I have a lot of pauses. So then I do a voiceover over that video recording. So first I record the gameplay portion,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go back and just uh, cut the pieces that I want to show in the video, and then do a voiceover over that. I record the voice separately, then do the editing, put everything together, and then a new process starts where I focus on the other aspects of let's see of the video, like for example, like the thumbnail, or when I upload the video, I upload the transcript of what I actually record
Mm-hmm.
because I also want to have subtitles not auto-generated on YouTube. I want them to be to match the what I'm actually saying. One of the things that I noticed with some cars, like Monastery's Whisper, uh, to me that's a very hard name to pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
So when I pronounce it and YouTube try to decipher it, it puts something like Monastery Fifth somewhere, something like that. And it's not totally not that. So what I do is I paste the transcript that I do for the video recording, put it
Mm-hmm.
into YouTube, and then YouTube just do the formatting for me.
So are you typing out then like a script that you're recording? Then you're talking about a transcript, or are you like recording your voice and then typing out what you say afterwards?
I first do the transcript. I type everything, then I record. Then I record it.
That's cool, man. I'm just gonna say right now, this deck is sweet. I like your deck a
Oh.
lot. It's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I also made a video about it, but I updated. I just put recently the Nezumi informant because it's another rat, and this is called like rat tribal.
Yeah, I played. Something I've been doing is taking viewer submission suggestions, and I got something kind of similar, but not running the funeral longboat and stuff like that. But it was running or burglar rat. It was running like Nizumi and Muay Thai, but it was also running like non-rat cards, like Guildsworn Prowler was in there and stuff. Um, discard that.
Oh yeah, Gilson Frown, it's a very good card.
um, but yeah, I like this deck a lot. It's really really cool.
Yeah, basically I wanted a deck that can abuse Hokiva Reckoner's rate because some people forget that it gives menace to the other rats.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the vehicles, so those are kind of unblockable with it.
So, when you're running through these decks and stuff, like, how much are you kind of like wanting to brew? Like, how much are you brewing these decks as opposed to kind of just like running some lists and stuff? Because you seem more brew oriented in a way.
Yeah, a lot basically because one of the things that I don't like personally is that, or it's not that I don't like, it's something that happens to me is that I get bored by
Mm-hmm.
playing decks. So, like I can take like let's say Burn right now as it is, and play it for a few days, but then I don't feel right about it because I get bored about it. So like usually I take a deck and then get bored of it. So I am in the need of constantly just trying to switch things up to keep me motivating to play the game.
Ooh, what's this guy? Skull
Oh,
Snatcher.
it exiles things from the graveyard. Not many relevant against your deck, but it's surprisingly very good against Nimir Terror.
Yeah, I would imagine. Man, it's kind of hoping to draw a land to play that card. I think you.
Yeah, and that's it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure you've got this one wrapped up. Let's do this. So, how did you get started into Magic, and when did you get started into Magic?
Let's see. I started around 2010 when I was finishing um college to get my degree. I'm a computer science engineer, so I was finishing that, and then my bump into near my house, or at least near my where I lived. Um, I noticed that one new store opened, so I went there and looked at things. They were playing Mike, and I got pulled into it. Like previously, I already have some experience in when I was even younger. Back when Invasion was on, but really, I never got to play into it as a whole. Just I look at it from other people playing it, and I kind of like it. But then when I was back in college, um, I wanted to have my collection, so I bought a booster box, and then from there I built my deck. It was very bad. It was in Zendikar, that now that I remember, it was a very bad mono white deck, and then I got some friends by playing the game. Those friends shared to me some of the cards they don't use for my mono white deck. And they noticed that I was somewhat good at the game, so they kept sharing their cards with me. And I started building my collection from scratch. And then eventually I got better and started winning more tournaments. And yeah, that's how I started basically.
I open
Out of
I opened up a
curiosity.
queue, and I guess I didn't have buddies only set, so somebody jumped in.
Oh,
Whoops,
that's
sorry,
fine.
sorry to them. So how did you can you talk a little bit, because your description on YouTube says PT competitor, which I'm assuming is Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and your road to getting there and what that was like?
So it all started with my arena and the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, as you may relate, everyone was sent to home to work from home. So my job, it's in a fixed time. So whenever I had time, I just pull arena and started playing. Then I started to get good at drafting.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a second,
No
I'm trying
worries.
to see what deck I can pick.
No
Oh,
worries.
probably this. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, so I was playing on an arena. Then I got good at drafting. I built my collection on arena because I wanted to build my collection for standard to play constructed games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I queued with the same deck, so probably we have to restart
Okay.
the match.
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, yeah, fine. So I wanted to have my wild cards, and I couldn't grind it the same way I grinded it in Moto.
Mm-hmm.
So I got good at drafting. Then once I got good at drafting, there was this new thing that Arena launched called the Arena Championship. which basically it's the same as the Pro Tour, because at that time they shut down the Pro Tours and just put everything on my on my arena, and I happened to qualify for the first limited championship for arena, and then basically there I got into the Pro Tour scene just like that. Then I qualified for the next one as well by limited on the next set, which was one was for Neon Dynasty and the other one was for New Capenna. So basically I qualified for my two Pro Tours playing limited on my arena.
Nice. What was it like going to the Pro Tour?
It was a different experience because it was not, as you may know, we were on a lockdown, so it was just from home playing like arena. So it was different from many people actually playing the Pro Tour nowadays. But it was fun. I got to meet a lot of friends, a lot of good people. I got pulled into Menguchi's team, and in both cases, the whole preparation process went very smoothly. So yeah,
That's
it
pretty
was
cool.
a good learning experience.
That's pretty cool. Would you want to go to like a Pro Tour that's in paper again?
Probably not.
No.
No, because of right now, it's going to be harder for me in terms um of traveling. You know, because I was back a couple of days ago. Was like, how much does it really cost to go to Pro Tour nowadays? Does WotC cover my expenses or not? And the answer was no, they are not. They don't. So if I had to travel to, let's say, if it's a Pro Tour on London, let's say, for me that's going to be around 2K, 3K just
Yeah, a
just
lot of
for
money.
travel. And probably that's not gonna be worth it for me. In terms of, I know I'm gonna be playing against uh, LSB, Mengushi, Nathan Stower, and other amazing people down there, but I will have to spend more than what the actual Pro Tour will kind of give me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you like if you knew or not, rather if like for the travel if they paid you to like paid for your travel and stuff, and it's like that kind of stinks if they don't.
No, they don't. What they do, but like, there's a fixed just for participating in the Pro Tour, there's a fixed fee that they give you. Like, for example, it's around 70-50 in the last two Pro Tours I was. So, 70-50 is what they pay me just to play in the Pro Tour. So if you translate that to basically, if is this going to cover my travel expenses, then probably the answer is no.
Gotcha. So you started like kind of the online Magic. Did you kind of just start with Arena then?
I started with MTO
Okay.
a long way ago. I started in 2013.
Okay.
Because I knew I didn't know it existed, to be fair, but I found it existed. So then I started playing, and it was back when Blue Red Square was not very well known at the beginning. So, but I noticed this player, Kung Fu Trees, was kind of the creator and the only one playing it. So I messaged him in MTO, say, "Hey, I love your deck. Can you show me how to play it?" And he was very kind. He showed me what his thought process was, how to cyber between matches and such. Basically, he was a very good brewer, but he went dark, not doing content creation and playing a lot. since probably 2015. But I got the inspiration of brewing from him.
Okay. How did you jump into the pauper format then?
Because oh yeah, because when I started on MTO, then I say, well, how do I play, right? And what's the cheapest way to play? And the cheapest way to play was pauper. How can I
That's
get
true.
my collection? How can I get my collection? Well, playing pauper, I guess. So uh, it was basically that, just trying to figure out what was the best way to get my hands on a collection and then go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I love the format ever since.
These are kind of pointless,
So
so I'm just kind of burning them out of my hand. Counter spells kind of pointless against tortured. Um,
yeah,
so like, do you play other formats? I mean, you talk about limited and stuff. Do you play like other Eternal formats, or are you kind of just in on Pauper? Or
I I basically play a lot of formats. There was a time back uh, last year where the pauper meta was insufferable. I couldn't stand it. Every time I play like a league with Cogates,
mm-hmm.
and I faced literally 5 affinity decks and went 5-0. I mean, I won all, but that experience, I didn't want to have it again. So I started playing Pioneer, and then I like Red Black Sacrifice on Pioneer, and yeah, it was a very good deck.
How is
So
Pioneer? That's a format that I've
uh,
always been kind of interested in.
it's very good actually. It's very very good. Um, because the meta is diverse,
Mm-hmm.
and there are dominant decks like, for example, Rakdos Midrange,
Mm-hmm.
which is the combination of Fable and Shieldred. But even with that high power level, it's still beatable. It's still enjoyable to play against. They don't have like those turn through kills that you can't interact with, like it's the case of Pauper right now with Burn. If you're on the draw against Burn and they have a turn 1 Monastery Swift Spear, turn 2 Monastery Swift Spear, Lightning Ball, go your face, they
Mm-hmm.
can easily kill you with a Fire Blast on turn 3. And that's not very enjoyable, at least to my point of view.
True.
And while Pioneer has mono red as well, but it's not that oppressive. Like agro strategies are are powerful, but still very fun to play against.
um, with content creation, most of what I've seen is just Pauper stuff. Have you ever thought about like doing other kind of content with other formats?
I thought about it, but uh, I don't probably have much time to do it. Like if I'm probably thinking about uh 2 days worth of video editing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's 2 days of the week. So if I want to push like another format, then I will have to basically do 4 days of video editing,
Mm-hmm.
which is 4 days a week. And I do also have like a full-time job, as I previously mentioned, and also do a secondary job in article writing for DraftSim.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably don't have the time, but I thought about it. I guess if I ever put a content for another kind of video, it will be probably Pauper Commander because it's very similar. Because otherwise I probably will be niching out from my niche, and that probably will hurt my viewer as a whole in the end, because the
Mm-hmm.
algorithm will say, well, now your viewers are not watching your videos anymore because
Yeah.
they like the Pauper content. But on the other hand, I can get more traction for Pioneer. But whenever I got the my Pioneer videos, Pioneer people will want to watch my pauper videos.
Mm-hmm. Do you
So I'm
think
still
like
debating into that.
do you think like the algorithm kind of punishes in a way creators from branching out?
In a way, I guess if you are consistent on, let's say, well, I will upload this video for pauper at the beginning of the week, and then a Pioneer video at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Then the algorithm won't punish you. But if you are just saying something like, probably I will play this week I will be doing pauper, next week I'm going to be doing Pioneer, next week I'm going to be Legacy, then it will punish you in that way.
Gotcha. I did not assign those right. I clicked through the assign.
And you kill the
um yeah, I love Tortured Existence. It's like one of my favorite decks.
It's very fun. I put a lot of time into making or trying to make Tortured Existence good. I failed.
I think it's pretty good. I like running the Necromass in it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's fine, but the meta is very aggressive at the moment to be actually consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. Like, this deck surprisingly has a very good match against, let's say, Affinity,
Mm-hmm.
but it struggles a lot against mono red. And if you face 5 mono red decks in a row, then probably it's not enough.
Yeah, which in like hindsight, you'd think with the recursion of Gogari Brown scale, you'd be a little bit better off against a mono red match, but
you think, but if they have the Nadra, then it's probably pointless at that.
right. Yeah, I'm saying I'm pretty dead here. So you talk about like having a full-time job, secondary job writing articles and stuff and doing the content creation. Like how do you find time to balance everything? What's your balancing act like?
I kind of set up some days to, like, the full-time job is my priority, so I have a fixed time for that. But now right now I wouldn't be doing this, but I recently got into vacation, so I have time to do the interview. But usually from 8 to 5, I do my work. Then, but I wake up very early, so in the morning I do a couple of hours of video editing. Then after that, after my job, I do a couple of hours of video editing, recording, and playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do that from Monday to Wednesday, and Thursday to Friday I do my part-time job as a writer.
Do you find it's sometimes kind of hard to balance everything, or have you gotten a pretty good rhyme and rhythm down to it?
I got a pretty good rhythm right now, but there have been a couple of weeks where I say, well, I'm probably not gonna upload anything today. I'm just gonna take a week off, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I know my videos are gonna get punished later, but I need this break sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, there's definitely like something to be said about a content creator like needing that refresher. You know what I mean? Especially to help like with like burnout and stuff. Because like Magic, I mean, I imagine you're probably playing more than content orientation. Like for me, I'm pretty much the only time I play Magic is when I'm making some kind of content. So, are you playing much Magic outside of content creation? If so, like how are you dealing with burnout? Is it just those time breaks working for you?
Yeah, it's working out. I think because I still play Magic, like, but I kind of wish Magic Online has like a mobile interface, or at least something suitable for it, because part of me using a lot of arenas because it's in mobile. So whenever I'm in bed, I can just put up a couple of matches, play a couple of drafts, you know.
So you're probably one of the first people I've talked to that's actually went into uh Arena. How do you think
Mhm.
Arena compares to MTGO, and like which client do you prefer?
Um, for efficiency, I prefer MTGO, but for graphics, it's Arena. Graphics and playability, like uh, playing from my phone, it's very good. It's actually like there was one of these stories where it was like back when Ben Draft was playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, there was no one who could put him out of his phone, right? Because Arena just got into the phone. So he went to the supermarket, he was playing the games. He went to do some errands, he was playing the game. So it kind of gives you an idea of the reach and level of uh, what could be a difference of just having the game on a mobile device.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Yeah, I mean
I think I went kind of sidetracked on it.
that's what my one buddy used to play Arena a lot, but he would like pretty much only play it on his phone. I think that's like the one benefit of Arena over MTGO is that fact. Um,
Yep.
but how do you feel like the economies compare to each other? Because the one thing that I really don't like about Arena is you basically just have to wing it on like if you're gonna get the cards you need and stuff.
Yeah, like because there are very different economies. When it's just a close one, Arena, it's a closed economy.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Online, you can put money in it and get back money from it. That's how many of the Brazilian streamers actually uh, get there for a living, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder to pull up an economy on, or like have a good deck on Arena. Because either you spend thousands of dollars on buying wildcards, which is not optimal, or you just get good at drafting, which was my case, and start building just your connection from there. Because otherwise, I will have to spend like probably hundreds of dollars on it. I remember uh, Paulo Vitor saying that actually, where he was, well, I had to put like $1,000 every new set onto my arena just because I need to get the cards and I don't have time for drafting it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very punishing. The arena economy is very punishing if you don't have the time to actually play the game.
So I for me, I the little bit I've dived into Arena, like that was one of the big things that was just keeping me out of it. Was just like I like the simplicity of just I can just go to Card Hoarder and buy whatever card I need for the deck, and then if I need to sell off
Mm-hmm.
or something, I have the ability to like sell off on it. Um, do you think there's more of a competitive nature, like competitive vibe around Arena over MTGO?
What do you mean?
So like okay, so we talked about like how they were kind of pushing the Pro Tour with Arena and stuff. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
like Magic themselves are going to try to focus more on using Arena as like their forefront, or do you think like oh, I'm totally dead here. I can't get a land. Or do you think like
That's important.
that like competitive aside is I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is
Well,
like, do you think Magic pushes more of the competitive side on Arena as opposed to MTGO?
definitely. I know Ryan Spain, who is currently one of the people in charge of NTO, is trying to get more events into the actual program,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make changes from deck break into in the background to make the client more useful for the people. but it's going to be a work in progress as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare visually MTGO and Arena, which one would you like to prefer? Probably Arena has the better graphics, but
Yeah.
playing it for most of people, it's better on MTGO. But it's like watching Excel cards in Excel move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So so it's not as visually impactful as Arena it is, and that's the drawback. At the end, they want to have as many views as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what. Yeah, if you go like on Twitch and you see people streaming Magic and stuff under the Magic the Gathering category, it's like majority of them are Arena. There's only like a handful that are in the MTGO slot. But do you
Hmm.
think like it would be good for Magic if the Arena formats came over to MTGO and then the MTGO formats went over to Arena, or do you think it's better to kind of keep them separate?
I think it's more of like it's going to be hard to unify those, because I don't think Arena has the right tools to handle all of the formats and interfaces that MTU has right now. Because uh, first of all, they don't have like multiplayer queues,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big appeal for MTO. You can play Commander on MTO. Pretty much what Arena can do, um, MTO already does, and does
Mm-hmm.
it better, but it's not as visually impactful.
Gotcha. Um,
And again, you can play it on the phone, which is the deal breaker for most people.
right. Do you like when you make your content and stuff, do you ever want to do like arena content or you just kind of
I actually did once. I put a a draft video. It didn't got as many views as my pauper videos naturally.
Mhm.
Uh, but it was fine. I think the issue is that again I don't have time for it, but it's fine. I don't know. I kind of liked that one time when I did it, but to do it consistently, probably I didn't. I
Right.
don't have much time to do it.
I saw on your channel you used to do Pokemon videos. You still into Pokemon?
I actually was trying things at that point. I was just having a free time at that time and wanted to have some guides.
Mhm.
So I put some videos. I didn't know it were gonna get a lot of traction, but they apparently did for some reason. So yeah, it was a fun experience, but I don't do Pokemon very much because it has like a top end. You play the game, and unless you go full competitive on it, uh, it gets stalled. There's so much that you can do with the stall game.
Mhm. My buddy's gotten big. I don't know if he does much of the competitive side with what was the new ones? Violet and Scarlet.
Hmm.
But I know he with short sword and shield got really like into the competitive side and like the double battles and everything like that. Um, so when I saw you made some content, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Um, but outside of like Magic, are you like what are like some of the other games you're like digging into, kind of diving into?
So, um, first of all, my channel was not actually a Magic channel.
Huh?
It was about a game called Clash Royale, and hence my name David Royale, because I started my channel based on that, which is a mobile game, which was very popular at that point. And I really love it, but I didn't got the views. So so I kept doing it for like a month or two,
Mm-hmm.
and then I said, well, I also want to do some my content as well. So I went and put out the content for for a pauper league, and that goes triple the times the views that my Clash Royale uh, videos were having. So I said, well, I guess I know where I'm going now.
Lean into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, as far as my games go, mobile games, Clash Royale was one of the ones I play the most. Now I currently don't. Uh, I also played, let's say, I played a lot of the Nintendo ones when they came out.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, my big team, and one of the reasons I took like a 2 week break from content creation was um the Tears of the Kingdom from Zelda. So I went full into that. Uh, I didn't look at it as an opportunity to make videos because again didn't want to view my attention somewhere else in terms of
Mm-hmm.
viewers. But it was very very fun to play. Totally recommended.
So I've yet to play Breath of the Wild. I still got that one in the backlog to hopefully get to. Um, I like this Glaze Fiend mirror servitor interaction. Something I've been working on with my viewers is a Glaze Fiend Mandible Justicar like Esper Blade deck that we really really like. So pretty cool to see
I
something like this with the servitors.
I think this was one of those decks where someone messaged me on Reddit and said, "Hey, can you put a is there a way you can put a deck for Glaze Fiend together?" And I said, "Well, sure, I can try. I don't make any promises, but I can try." And then the same day, another guy told me in my YouTube comments, "Can you put a deck using Mir Servitor?" I was like, "Why don't I put both together?" And this is like I haven't put a video for it, but I got the idea. I ran a couple of matches with it, and it was fine. It doesn't have a cyber, but it's okay.
I'll say, yeah, I like it a lot. I'll have to play that Esper Blade deck. Oh, I tapped that mana wrong. Whoops. Oh well. I'll have to play that deck at some point. It's pretty cool. Uh, so going back to I do just out of my own personal nerdy curiosity, what editing software are you using?
Music currently DaVinci Resolve.
Yes, me too. That's what's up.
Yeah, that it's probably one of the best, if not the best. I started using at the very very beginning OpenShot, and it was a pain. It was horrible. It lagged out a lot and didn't let me do pretty much anything. It was free, but
Yes.
then I but then I discovered DaVinci Resolve, which is also free.
Oh, Resolve is so powerful. It's such a powerful editor.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I wanted to kill the servitor, but I think the Glaze Fiend's the bigger threat.
I think the Restless Night is the biggest
Oh, you think? Maybe, probably.
because it's
Oh,
gonna.
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. You're probably right. I forgot about that ability. Whoops.
Let's see.
So,
Oops.
if
Yep.
someone's wanting to start into Magic and they're going to play online, do you think would you go MTGO or Arena?
Arena.
Arena.
Just to get their feet wet, and then I will put them. I will send them to MTU to play Pauper. Like in because you don't need any resources to actually play Magic on Arena. You just
Mm-hmm.
download the game and start playing for free. While if you want to play MTGO, you will have to pay $10 for the starter account. So
Right.
if it's someone just starting at the very beginning, yeah, I will tell them. I will send them to Arena, and then if they like the game, then I will probably just put it on Magic Online. Probably
Gotcha.
start playing Pauper.
All right, I'm dead here. Super dead. Um, if someone wanted to like get better at Magic or something, what recommendations would you have for that?
Consistency. and a lot of playing, at least at the very beginning, because you can't get good at something just and not play the game. You have to actually have that experience. You need to, um, of course, you can watch content to kind of fill the gaps in the middle, but without the actual experience of playing the game, you wouldn't know of certain situations. Like, for example, and this is kind of probably some kind of narrow. When I was playing Alchemy Mirrors of Grixis, there's this new card Crucius, which is very powerful, 3 mana, 3/3, that basically at the end of the turn creates a token and tutors for a card. So if you are on the draw, and if you are on the draw, basically you can't tap out on turn 2, because if they resolve a Crucius on turn 3, you're dead. You're not winning the game anytime soon. So that kind of experience is something nobody's going to tell you. But it's obvious for some players, and it's obvious for them because they have played the game a lot. The same case scenario, like I can give you like a deck, and put you against probably a favorite matchup. But if you keep a bad hand, then probably you're gonna lose. And you need to learn to identify which kind of hands are good and which kinds of hands are not good against certain matchups, or which kind of hands you have to keep in the dark and which cards you probably just need to mulligan. So, and all of that is just based on experience, just playing the game.
When it comes to the you talk about like knowing how to sideboard and stuff, how important do you think sideboarding is to like have like a semi-competitive edge?
I think it's very important. Like, if I put it into numbers, I am very well known for just throwing up game number 1 and going back on game number 2 and 3, because I know how to cyber against those decks in the dark. And most of the wins historically for me have come up from game number 2 and 3. Because just of knowing how good how to approach the matchup. So cyber, it's super important, and knowing what cards are good or not against certain decks, it's probably fine. There was a time when, and this is one of the things I learned at the very beginning, where when I was learning how to approach the Fates mirror back in the day, I didn't know that when cybering you had to side out a lot of the Fates, because Fates are very bad in the mirror match, and that's something that was unknown to me at that time. But then when I was asking for advice on how to approach it, people actually told me, yeah, you know, you have to cyber them because they are going to bring these cards, and it's probably to play a more of a control game post cyber, you know.
Yeah. Because one thing I noticed is you do a lot of sideboard guys and stuff for the decks you cover. Like, how many games are you getting in like repetition to like, all right, this is where I want to be with this deck, or like, okay, how many games do you feel pretty confident of like what you're sideboarding against what deck and stuff, like, or is it something just the more games you play just in general you're like, all right, we know these cards are good against this deck? Like, I guess, like, how many games are you getting under your belt before you go, I'm pretty confident in my sideboard plan here?
I think at least a couple per match, but obviously I don't have the full time to play them against all of the archetypes in the format. So what I'll do is just oh, that was backbreaking. What I will do is just have a kind of an idea on how the match is gonna go based on previous experiences with other decks, and then probably do a cyber transition between one deck to another. But yeah, generally, in order to actually put a deck before actually recording it, Uh, I do a lot of testing. I do play a lot of matches with the deck before actually jumping into it.
Gotcha. That's like that was something I was thinking. I was like, man, it's like how many games do you got to grind out before you like have a pretty confident sideboard plan, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, most of it is based on the feeling, but you have to have a very good understanding of the meta and how can the matchup is gonna go. Like, let's take Burn again. What's the most powerful thing that they can do? Probably just play a turn one Whisper into what? Into a regular. I don't know what's the pinger called, but it's the one that pings you whenever you play like
Flame
a
breather. That one you're talking
yeah
about?
flame
Casted
breather.
flame breather.
Yep. So if I'm playing like a blue deck, probably I will cut like all of my counter spells and just add my Hydroblast instead, because are cheaper and both are a counter and a destroy effect that can deal with both cards.
What's advice you'd give to somebody about over sideboarding or something? If somebody's like over sideboarding, I guess what's your advice on sideboarding? Period.
Yeah, don't over sideboard unless your match is super terrible. Like there are decks that you have to over cyber a lot. Like for example, Affinity. You see like people run 10 cards against Affinity and and the other and the other 5 against Burn.
Yeah.
Because that's how oppressive that deck is. So probably don't over cyber unless you need to. But it depends on your deck really. If you're playing a combo deck, it depends on the deck. This is what I'm trying to say. If you're playing a combo deck, you can't start making more than like 2 or 3 cyber changes because otherwise your whole deck is gonna fall apart. The same as if you are in let's see, playing an aggro deck, and I've seen some people trying to switch into a more of a control or a weirder control deck. That's not gonna work. I've seen some people having struggles playing the mono green versus fairies match, which is already bad. But usually, what I found was that they were trying to bring in more of a control strategy rather than keeping up with the aggro plan, and that plan is gonna fail 80% of the time. Going in, turning an aggro deck into a control deck against another aggro deck, or at least a tempo deck, you're not gonna win the game.
It's interesting. That's what one of my first real exposures to like over sideboarding was. The first like main constructed deck I got into was in Modern. It was Dredge. And I kind of learned, I wouldn't say super quickly, but at least quick enough to be like, oh, hey, yeah, if I decide to sideboard out most of my main strategy to try to protect my graveyard, I don't have much of a graveyard to work with anymore.
Yeah, like this is a very simple example, but it's something that can happen. Imagine you are running your elves deck, and you have all of your elves, 4 lead stamping, 3 winding waves. If you start adding like counter spells, for protecting against, I don't know, anything you want to, because honestly you can realistically play counter spells on elves. They are already playing blue based on some of the creatures. But if you want to start adding non-creature spells to your creature spells, then what's gonna happen with your lead stamping and winding wave? They are gonna get worse. And the same happens to walls. That's why when they sideboard, they usually transition to one deck to another, but not into this weird mix of, yeah, I'm gonna try and do both things. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it does.
yeah. So yeah, that's probably one of the worst cases scenarios that could happen if you over cyber.
All right, Glaze Fiend. Love that card. Also terrified to see it. How do, like with Pauper and stuff being obviously like, you know, we had where they came out and was like, yeah, the format's pretty healthy. We're seeing a lot of these same decks and stuff. Oh, am I down? What's going on here? Okay. Over tap mana, but whatever.
Nope.
With like health and stuff, like, do you think Pauper though right now is pretty viable to have like some pretty competitive homebrews?
No.
No.
No, at least not on online. But that kind of depends on on where you are playing it. If you're playing online and jump into an online league with a homebrew, that's probably not very good. Because you're gonna get faced against what Affinity, Ponza, and Burn with your homebrew, and then you're gonna think, okay, my deck sucks. But what about the rest of the meta? You're not gonna know because there are so many decks in the meta that probably your deck is gonna be good against. But since you are jumping into this weird pool where only 3 or 4 decks are dominant, then you're not gonna know. But on the contrary, if you go to your local game store, where the meta is probably different, and I think this is what happens in Italy, where the meta is totally different than when it is on online, that you can see more of these other brews actually do great in there, and more format diversity.
So if someone's going to like an FNM or something, and it doesn't have to be Pauper, just in general, like how like say they're going in kind of blind into an FNM, like how do you like prepare for that? Like how do you try to judge your sideboard for the meta, or like try to judge what deck you're taking for the meta, or do you just kind of have to go in and let's just see what happens?
That's a very fun thing that you bring in, because my first FNM, it was again back in this weird Zendikar Alara format. So I don't know if you played a lot in that period.
What period was it?
Zendikar and Alara.
No, I jumped in around the Theros, Khonzak Tarkir era.
Oh, okay, so very much later.
Yeah.
Well, in that era, the deck that was dominant was Jund. Jund with his Protein Trinax, Broadblade Elf, Bituminous Blast, Lightning. So it was very red and black heavy. So when I went into my first FNM, everybody was telling me, okay, you're gonna die against June. You're gonna die against June with your mono white deck. Well, what I did was to actually play a deck that had main deck White Knights, the Bolt Light Caster, and pretty much every creature that has protection to red or protection to black. And I won that FNM.
Nice.
Because if you know what the meta is gonna be, and you're doing something that you know for a fact it's gonna beat the meta, then chances are you're gonna do great on the tournament.
Say, am I dead here?
3, 2, 2, no. Yet. Think I'll...
So we talked a little bit about, you know, the name Saitama coming from One Punch Man. Just debating here. All right, I'm just gonna take it. Which may have been a bad mistake, but what are like some other animes and stuff that you like, that you're into?
A lot. Well, not as much right now. Back in the day, I saw the big three, the Naruto. I don't remember which ones. Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. Then there are just very little after that. I didn't like to do much anime after, but probably just some of the most popular. Like right now, I am reading Blue Lock, the Blue Lock manga, because I find it very interesting.
Never heard of that one.
And Chainsaw Man, because it was also very hilarious. It was kind of off trend to what currently is going on. And then I can bring my creature, and probably just those, just the popular ones. But I'm not a full geek on some others, I guess.
Oh, you're not weeabooing over here?
Hmm?
I say you're not weeabooing? You're You ever heard that
Oh
term
no,
weeaboo? Where you're like
no, no,
super
no,
like
no.
into anime and stuff?
Oh no,
I will
no. I
ask
probably don't relate to that.
I will ask where you're multilingual. Like how hard was it to learn English?
Not very much. I think it was harder trying to learn Brazilian. I because this is no this is something curious because most of the people think I am from Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not. uh, I am from El Salvador, Central America, so my native language is Spanish. Um, but since I was very little, I went into school. They were teaching English. Then after um, playing video games and watching TV, I kind of got into mm, getting my English better. But then when I was pulled into this Brazilian team, I started to learn the basis of Brazil and never really got into it. Never really. I tried in Duolingo, but it was not. it, it was it was hard.
So you kind of trilingual then?
Yeah, kind of. I can understand Brazilian, but I can't really speak it at all.
Gotcha. I'll say I can't speak anything other than English, and that's Appalachian, so it's not even real English. um, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I've always found like because it just feels like that's like almost a kind of an American problem where nobody's like bilingual here. There's not like a lot of
No,
bilingual speakers here. Um,
oh, but you have everything else down there.
yeah, it's true. Like we were a melting pot, but just I don't know. They don't really teach it very much. And well, I mean,
Uh,
I guess it would depends on what school you go to. The more privileged schools probably have better like foreign language courses, but we didn't.
mm,
My school didn't really offer anything. Um, but I've always wanted to learn like either Japanese or German. I thought would be really cool to like learn how to speak something other than English.
yeah, I think it's useful, especially for content creator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right now it's not available. I think only I don't know if you heard about Mr. Beast,
Mm-hmm. Where
but
he has
it's
like all
the
the dubs.
only. Yeah, but previously what he had to do was to actually put two different channels, one for English and one for Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
because he can't really put videos with multilingual, but basically the same video in two different channels. But now he has the ability to put different audio tracks in the same channel.
Which
So
is
in the
really
long
cool.
run, in the long run, if that's available for everyone, then that's going to be very good for me because then I can do my recording on both English and my native Spanish and reach two kind of people there. Probably have a better um, reach for my audience if that's the case.
Yeah,
So it's
if
somewhat important in the long run.
just curious too, if you're not a native English speaker, what made you decide to create your content through English and not Spanish?
Probably reach just because I think I'm gonna reach more people in English than in Spanish. If
Makes
I'm
sense.
if I'm tapping into Spanish, I'm just gonna tap into Latin America and probably and probably Spain. And I don't know how much like how popular Magic is in those, especially in Latin America. Where I live, there are probably just 3 stores. Part of the reason why I don't play paper anymore.
Yeah. I say where you live is like in paper magic like pretty viable, or is it like a hard thing to like come by?
Kind of a hard unless because there are, like I said, there aren't many stores, so you just have to go to one or two, and that's in the whole country. So like, I think there is one other like very far away from the capital, but yeah, it's like 2 or 3 in the whole country that actually do Magic tournaments.
And is it like pretty far distance for you to travel to that, or?
Right now, from the main ones, probably not, but as you may have noticed, I don't have time to do paper
Yeah,
Magic
yeah.
anymore.
I'll say you seem pretty busy
Yeah,
between everything.
but the third one it's very far away. It's like a couple of hours to travel.
Now, how did you get into like writing articles? How'd that come about?
Basically, I just saw the opportunity. Someone was asking for a writer, and since I got a lot of experience on Magic as a whole, then I tap into that and asked for an opportunity. They gave me the opportunity, which I'm very grateful, and here I am.
Yeah, do you think writing the articles and stuff has helped like guide some traffic to your content?
No, because they are very different. My content is just based on pauper, and I write a lot about.
Oh shoot, I didn't mean to play that. I was trying to click.
Oh, but if you click it,
Oh yeah,
okay.
well.
No. I was trying to figure out if you played it earlier, you could have said the glaze fin, but probably not. No, right, because it's the 3 mana value.
Yeah.
That's one of my issues. I don't really read the cards a lot.
I kind of the same way. Like I always go, oh shoot, I forgot it did that because I read the first couple words of the card and it's like I know what that does. It's like no, I don't.
Yeah, no. Like one of the funny stories is when I was brewing a deck against mono blue fairies back when it was dominant, and it was a red green Temur Cascade deck, which has this 2-drop, the Squirrel Colony. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I don't think so.
It's a squirrel. That's a 2/2 for 2. When you have 6 or more lands, it gets +2/+2 buff. So it's in the long run 4/4 for 2 in the long game. But it also has reach. So which is very good against fairies. And I was 100% sure that if I run into people with that card, they are gonna attack into it, and I'm gonna eat some fairies. And 4 of 5 games that happened. People attack into the squirrel, and I blocked because people never saw that card, never read it, but it has reach.
That's what. Yeah, that and I like because Stinkweed Imp doesn't actually say Death Touch on the card. I feel like people all the time forget. Oh yeah, this card has Death Touch to it.
Yeah, but that's more of a known card. So probably people are gonna assume later that like the more they see a card, the more they know what they do. But if they don't see it, like in this case, the Squirrel Colony, then you're gonna get got because people like me, they don't really.
Do you ever feel like when you're brewing something together, a lot of people like just see a card and they don't like I actually like super pay attention to like what's going on with that card? Like in the sense of like you can kind of just surprise them.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. That's the whole thing of the brew. At the end of the day, you're trying to surprise the meta into some sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to uh, go out of the regular way um, to get the win against some of the most popular ones. Or a little, at least one of the most popular way decks. What's that? Okay. That's funny because Basilisk Gate doesn't work with Toxic the way it does with Infect, actually.
So I might be dead here. I kind of like Toxic though, because it kind of does dual damage in a way. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, puts you into two different clocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Blightbelly Rat's been a sweet card. I like it a lot. I've played a mono black sack like proliferate version that's been running that. That's been really cool to see. But I think I might be too slow here. Oh no. Yeah, I'm dead.
Maybe no. Well,
I will say I was at 7, so 7 in fact. And
yeah, but I only do two more of Infect.
yeah,
You're
but
technically at 1-1.
I don't really have any other critters. Like
Oh.
I would have had to draw like some critters, and that's where I was like stuck at. Like I don't really have I don't really have any draws that's gonna get me out of this situation.
That's one of the advice I probably give to most people playing limited. Actually, don't concede until you know.
Yeah.
Until you know you're certainly not there, because most of the time you can pull up some games. There's this friend I have where I play a lot with, limited with, and we jump in a call in Discord. We go over some games. He always wants to concede. And I always tell him, no, you're not gonna lose yet. You have to play it out. And at least a lot of the times we end up winning the game, just because.
Yeah, I definitely think like you don't want to concede to. I knew there wasn't a draw in this deck. Like I'm pretty like familiar with this deck list where I've been working on it for so long. Where it's like I just know there's no out here.
Yeah, I know. When you know there's no out, then probably.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think like some people, and I'm guilty of it too, where I've conceded way too early, and it's like we maybe could have gotten out of that, I guess. But I think that's just like one of the things about like learning the game is like trying to figure out, you know, one of the ways of just learning it's like, all right, so I shouldn't like scoop this early and stuff like that. I don't know what I want in this matchup for sideboard.
Removal. A lot of removal.
I would assume that, but like I'm trying to figure out. Let's try that. What else I want? Sorry, my sinuses have been bothering me. Mulligan.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, I'll keep it. Keep it and. So with hold on, I had a question written down I wanted to pull up. So with like your content and stuff that you're making, you're doing the shorts, you're doing you know, the longer form content. Have you ever decided like how or thought about wanting to like stream too on top of that, or is it just like you're more into the editing side?
I think I'm more into the editing side now, like right now. Mostly because it's kind of my strength. I do a lot of pauses when I'm talking. I do a lot of repetition through my words. So probably that's not gonna be very appealing for audiences when I'm streaming. And also I tried streaming once, and my computer got stuck in the streaming service. So
You
I
got
didn't want to
locked
try
in.
it. I got logged. Like it started fine, then it started lagging, and I didn't know why. So yeah, I am tempted sometimes to give it a try another time, but we'll see.
Damn, you got the the divest tribal going on here.
I guess this is one of the issues about playing homebrews. And it's not because they are bad, but like for example, my cyber is designed against affinity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you play someone that's similar to affinity,
It's pretty
it's gonna
good.
get hit by it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
It,
like that's why like I don't know. I remember back in the day when I was brewing with some other decks that include the artifact lands, they get hated by all of the hate of
mm-hmm.
that decks are running against affinity. The same when graveyard strategies arise, like I don't know, I don't know. Dimir Terror. Back when Dimir Terror was very popular, a lot of players were just putting a lot of relics in the main deck, which was uh, making Tortex very sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure. I was gonna say this deck is super vulnerable to pretty much all of the like same art like affinity hate. So like for me, like if I was gonna run this deck, like I don't think I would try to take it through League. I think it's in too vulnerable a spot. But it's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, yeah, it looks very good. But again, yeah, it's gonna get hit by all of the 12
Mm-hmm.
artifact hate
Yeah.
cards that people are gonna run against. And now with Lord of the Rings, like there's a new one even that exiles your stuff,
mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings set. I watched your like top picks and stuff. Wrong color. Do you think like it's gonna make a pretty good splash in Pauper? Because it seems like there's like quite a bit of juiced up cards in there, a lot of cool cards in there.
At least for the food strategies, I think it's gonna do a lot of impact there.
Yeah, I'm hoping the cat's playable. Like I'm pretty excited for like a
Yeah.
food deck to come out. Hopefully.
And then the ring stems you mechanic is also interesting. Just not sure because it looks like Monarch in initiative, but it's kind of not it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it leads towards more aggressive mechanics, I guess. Like if you put, let's say, the initiative on a Mole Drifter, which is already hard to block, then you're gonna be dealing a lot of damage with it in familiars.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the ring is gonna be like a pretty powerful like I guess not powerful. Do you think a lot of people are gonna try to like put it in decks? Like how much do you think like with the Monarch and the Initiative, a lot of decks that are in those collars will kind of put those in there, but like do you think the ring is gonna be the same way where people are gonna try to get the ring in there?
Uh, there's this one card, which one is it? It's the one that looks like Border's Ornament that adds any color of any mana.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say if Tron wants it, they can very quickly go through the 4 cycles. The thing is that after the fourth one, they are not gonna get any more value other than just changing the ring bearer from one tour to another. So like the ring mechanic is an aggressive mechanic versus what our decks can actually just abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the decks that can abuse it are more in terms of control or mid-range, like it's a sort of familiar or just or ephemeritron. So if an aggro deck can abuse it, it's gonna be very powerful. And there's the possibility that it's already good in familiars with the flicker one.
Mm-hmm. I'll say it'd be
But
definitely interesting.
it will depend.
I'm definitely curious to see how it kind of shakes. Which this interview will probably be up by the time the Lord of the Rings set comes out. But are you a fan of Lord of the Rings?
I like the movies, but I haven't read
Read the
the
books?
books. Mm-hmm. But I really like the movies. I like the trilogy and the Hobbit saga. I really like those.
Trying to debate on how I'm attacking here.
That's a very aggressive line.
Yeah, I think I play too aggressive throughout a lot of a Magic. I just like turning cards sideways.
But now it's interesting for me. Well, not because. Oh, I was gonna say I can kind of attack all and try to get the win right now. But if you have removal, probably it's not good.
Yeah.
But I'm a madman, so I will try it.
Yep, you got it. I ain't got nothing.
But
That's
probably I wouldn't have done it. I did this line because I drew a creature that can block the Justicia. Oh well, it can't because of the Great Sword. Well, I was lucky then.
Yeah, how much like do you think the variance of luck plays into the variance of luck, how much do you think that plays into like the win percentages as opposed to like the actual like piloting? Like what do you think like the split there would be?
I mean, I think it's as a whole, it's pretty much around the same. Because very skilled players can have a very bad day and don't do well. So like in limited, for example, and especially in arena it's very punishing. If you are stuck on lands because of best of one. Best of one is not. Well, I think it's a thing in some portions of Magic Online, but I haven't really tapped into that. But basically, you just play one game, and there's no second games after that. So if you play that one game and get paired against a deck that beats you, or you are stuck on lands,
It's
then
very
you can do
punishing.
nothing but lose.
Yeah.
And it's very punishing. So that in arena, I think the luck factor plays a bigger role than in general Magic as a whole, but it's still very important. No one can deny that players, for example, let's take again Andrea Mengucci, very skillful player. But if he has a bad day, then nope.
Nothing you can do about it. Do you
Nothing
think
can do
that
about it.
that kind of pseudo leveling of the game has helped the game out in terms of like popularity of like you could be paired against Andrea Mengucci and you still, even though you're not at his level, you still have a pseudo chance to actually get there.
Yeah, I think it's very important to keep in mind that um, even though probably it's a more skillful player, uh, the lands tap the mana the same ways for both everyone. You know, the same lands they used to tap mana, the same lands you're gonna use to tap them, and therefore like it's what I'm trying to say. It's like if you're playing someone that it's probably with a higher skill level, don't be afraid to play the game.
Yeah.
I feel like some of these pro players, obviously they are very good, but people playing against them get very nervous because of the weight their name holds. So probably just as an advice for probably anyone interested in getting into competitive, just don't be afraid of playing more skillful players. Probably take it as a challenge and to get better.
Right.
And that's probably one of the things that Arena taught me, because in there you play against a lot of players every time. I play like against LSB just by queuing into a draft league, or Numo Denomi, very very famous people.
It's one thing I think it's
But
really cool with like Arena and Magic Online is the fact that you have a chance to actually just run into these like pro level players and just play against them. Like it's pretty cool.
Yep.
So I don't know how often that happens in like other games, I guess. I mean, I guess there's a chance that, you play Fortnite, you would drop in with like Ninja or something, but like
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility that when you are playing in Magic Online and you're playing more, and chances are you probably got run into a sparring spike, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the same. But since Arena is more popular and Limited is most popular as a whole, chances are you're gonna be paired more frequently against some of these popular streamers.
Mm-hmm. When you were getting into the more competitive side of Magic, was you ever nervous like to sit down against somebody who was like established, or like what was the first time you played against somebody who was pretty established?
Yeah, I always get nervous, regardless.
Yeah.
But it's because of the fear of losing. But even if you lose, that's the worst thing that it could happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it means it's a game, at the end of the day.
But yeah, I often get nervous as well. So it's not. It's something very popular
Competing,
among players.
yeah, competing at a high level like that, like how do you deal with like the jitters, I guess, like cuz I imagine like playing at that like higher of a level, it's a little bit more, I don't know if nerve-wracking would be the right word, but yeah, nerve-wracking, I guess.
Yeah, it is. But the most important thing is just uh, have the proper rest,
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter if you put like 10 hours of preparation. If you didn't rest well, chances are your mind is not going to be in the right place for the
Right.
actual event. So I guess, uh, yeah, it's kind of, obviously everybody gets nervous, but um, trying to keep focus and calm is what's gonna win you the games the most.
Mhm. Ooh, what's this? Oh no. um I will say like I'm getting maybe a little bit better at doing these interviews and playing Magic cuz it's sometimes it's hard to like split that concentration a little bit of like talking
Yeah,
and trying to do the games too. Ooh, Wretched
that's
Rift.
that's
That's
why
pretty good.
that's why I've chosen a lot of these kind of fast decks.
That's what I've kind of been leaning more into too, of like either picking decks I'm a little bit familiar with or decks that are a little bit quicker, of just being like, all right, I can I can kind of run these a little bit more on autopilot, and it doesn't really matter if I mess up. But um, what do you think like some of the hardest decks in Pauper right now are to like pilot? Like what ones do you think are good because it takes like a good pilot to run them? Because that's what I back when I was into modern a lot. One thing was Amulet Titan. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
always said that, well, if you run Amulet Titan, like you're pretty like shored up in a way of how you play, because that's a deck that if you're good you can run it, but if you're not very good it's brutal. So what do you think are like the hard decks in Pauper to pilot?
Probably all the combo ones. Poison Storm, Mowarts, and pretty much everything that requires a lot of pieces to come together in order to win.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for example, Mowers is very strong. In the hands of a good player, it's very hard to beat. That's why Hamuda does a very good job at putting good results with the deck. But at the same time, that's why most of people don't actually use it a lot because it's very skill intensive. And Familiars is another great example. Familiars, it's very skill intensive. You need to know when and what to combo out, and when you can go infinite. And on top of that, you need to be fast in order to play it. At least in Magic Online.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way with familiars. Like, I've only piloted a. It wasn't exactly like regular familiars, but I've only piloted it once, and I'm like so terrible with the deck. Even though I've played against it a bunch, and like I've seen like Satan Raken played a lot, but like it just seems like such a like I don't. It's not my thing, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's mostly because of that skill cap that it has.
Yeah.
It's very skill intensive.
If you were going to go right now without Lord of the Rings stuff being out, if you were going to go to like Paupergeddon, what do you think you're taking with you?
Definitely not taking. Probably I will take familiars, but it's kind of hard because as I previously mentioned, like the online and the paper meta are very different. So I will have to do my whole benchmark or just kind of dig into what actually people play there in order to get a good feeling. But if the meta matches, let's say, the challenges, there are three decks I need to be prepared. Probably Burn, Affinity, Mono Blue. Famir has a good match against Affinity and Monorev in the right hands if you know how to play it. But Mono Blue, it's very hard. So, but if I know that Mono Blue is not gonna be as present, then I will probably go with Mono Blue. Sorry, with Familiars. But if it's gonna be an even split, then I probably will play Mono Blue because it has the most answers for both Mono Red and Affinity.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Mono Blue is a good choice.
I don't know what I would what I would run. I'd probably just like I don't know. I'd probably just bring Tortex. Honestly,
That's fine. Like I said, if the meta is slow, like if there aren't many aggro decks, like especially Mono Red, Tortex has a very good match against Affinity. Very good match.
Just yeah, like we were saying, it's like with brown scale and stuff. You think it'd be pretty solid against mono red, but they're just way too quick. And then this deck has, I think, a 100% lose rate to the poison counter deck. I'm pretty sure it's 100%. I may be off of my numbers. I'm not very good with numbers, but it feels like 100%. No. How good do you think that poison counter deck is? Because I think it looks sweet. I really want to pilot it at some point.
Poison Storm?
Yeah.
So I put the idea out there when I was trying to do this to build the deck. Then Kali took it out for the longer run. So I think it's good in more like mid-range metas. And probably no, that's great against more of aggro decks, but it's very good. The key is that if you play against more of a mid-range meta, they can easily punish you by just pseudo controlling the board and then going off with the poison plan.
So yeah, it seems really cool. I've got it built on Magic Online. I just haven't found a time to what am I doing here? haven't found a time to play it yet, but it looks really, really fun. I also really like that like Monster Tron deck too, where it's just like the mono green Tron deck that kind of runs similar to the modern version. I think it's been really fun too. I don't know if you've played that any.
The mono green, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it, but I seen it. Especially when I was testing, there was this deck where I think it was the one I was previously playing, the one the artifact with the thing that enters the battlefield and an artifact grows.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing against that mono green deck, and they always had Pyroblast or the cannon, and I was very sad about it.
Right. The last league I ran Infinity, and it was like every match I got paired up with, they just had all of the answers always. It was so brutal. What happened there? What did you repeal? Off Drinking Mage. Okay. I was like, what happened?
That's fine. But then okay. Then I regretted doing that. Probably I shouldn't have done this. Yeah, I think I sequence wrong. But well, whatever.
How often or how hard is it to see your own punts? Like when you make a punt, like how hard is it to like is it pretty like when you do it, do you like is oh no.
Yeah, I do punts a lot.
Yeah, no, I just saw what you grabbed there. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, that's why I took the
Brought the trinket mage back.
the trinket mesh. But then I drew one more out of the out of the repeal, and then I was sad. So
All
you
right.
got
I got back Necromass.
Exile Grayer.
Yep.
Right
That hurts. Yeah, that was Tortured Existence has the same feeling as Dredge when you're playing and they have like game 1 Graveyard Hate. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
It's like that's not good.
Yeah.
But
probably what I will have grabbed is the Sting with you to keep blocking my Mole Drifters. Unless you have another one right now.
Hopefully. But no. I'm not entirely sure what's left in my deck, to be 100% honest.
Oh, and you're very low on cards. I didn't know.
Yeah, so maybe I should just play Necromass there instead of the Satyr Wayfinder. What is left in my deck? One Stinkweed Imp looks like it's left. 2 Kitchen Imps, 1 Brown Scale, 3 Necromasses.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, time to crunch.
Irisol Tender is a very good card.
Yeah, I really like the Irisol Tender a lot.
I haven't got to play against it a lot though. But it looks very fun. Very good.
Eh? Okay. I was like, is it gonna get to stick?
Well,
I'll probably deck myself before. Oh wait. Cast with Kicker.
Nice.
All right. I like the fact that Tron lands are in Pauper. Like the Tron lands are fun to run in Pauper.
There was a time where I was very salty about them. Now it's not as dominant as a force, but it was very annoying to play against it.
Yeah, I came into
Um,
Pauper, I think, on the tail end of that Tron reign, it seems like. Ooh, that's a big boy. Um, what cards are like the most salt inducing to you right now?
all and every land destroying cards. No,
Not
but
a fan of the
seriously,
Ponza.
no. If you go like if you are on the draw, like if you're trying some of these brews and you're against a Ponza player, probably I will just consider move to the next match because it's not a good experience to get your team got killed
Mm-hmm.
in turn three. And I can try and get around it, but it's not an experience I want to have.
Right.
Um, other than that, probably I don't know. Um, when you are getting locked out by familiars, that's very annoying.
Yeah. Is there any cards right now in the format that you'd want to see banned? I keep asking everybody this, but I think it's an interesting topic because people are all over the place on bans and stuff right now.
Yeah, I think from what I heard, the Pauper format panel looks more as a format as a whole rather than just um, um, like, for example, they don't look at just the meta on my online or in leagues, but they
Mm-hmm.
try to look at more of in the terms of player base. I don't know, like looking at what's being done in-person events, I guess. Um, but I do think that my online it's um, the place where most games happen the most. So not addressing that, it's very concerning for me.
Mm-hmm.
So in that same train of thought, I think cards like or decks like Affinity and Monred needs to be addressed.
You think
Um,
they're still like pushing too much of the format?
it's because like in more particularly Mono Red, because Mono Red is a fast deck that you can put a lot of hours into it and a lot of games into those hours. Like you can finish a league in 30 minutes
Mm-hmm.
with the Mono Red deck. And that's why most of the grinders actually get those strategies in and pick up that deck. But in contrast, that's not healthy for the format, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not healthy because again, do you want to join a league and get faced against 3 to 5 mono red decks or a combination of 3 mono reds, 2 affinity? It's very hard to come up with that. Like if I really want to play a game, of course there are other players playing other decks that try and beat Board and Affinity, and more often than not, you're gonna get play against them. But if you're as well, if you're not prepared against those, then what's the point?
Right.
So, so in that regard, yeah, I do think uh, at least those decks needs to be addressed to some extent, not make them unplayable, but to putting into a level where even if they are the cheapest, they are not the most dominant as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a relic of Progenitus in my hand.
All right. I guess I'll keep this. Um.
That's why I like the Gates approach on Tortex, because people often cyber a lot of Relic of Progenitus, but
Mm-hmm.
you end up winning against them with the Gates plan.
Yeah, it's kind of what you ended up doing against me. Was you were running the you didn't have like Torex toward the end of the match, but you were just punching in with the gates. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I definitely think the gates package I should probably upgrade it, but yeah, I definitely think the Gates package should be included. It's pretty good. Even if you're not even running even if you're still just in Golgari colors and not running the Abzan version, Abzan, I think it's worth. I think it's worth playing. It's a good like B plot, for sure.
Yep, and it makes some of the other strategies on the format like Kagets even playable.
Mm-hmm.
Like Squadron Hack was a good card for Pauper, but didn't have a very good place in it until the Gates came out. It was probably one of my most the decks I like the most in Pauper right now, Kagates. But right now it became too slow for the meta. Mono Red just hits it very hard.
That's what I've noticed. Like, so I've noticed is like the red deck kind of just shut out like a lot of like
mid-range strategies.
Almost like even like 3-color decks where you have to play like so many tap lands. Like you're just too slow to the draw with it.
And that's my issue with Mono Red as well, because if I look at all of the decks in the format, probably most of them are just shut down by that strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I don't know what I cost a Caterpillar here.
Probably a Chalice.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm not sure.
Because let's see, Walls combo gets eaten by Mono Red.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what other decks are. No, some of the more mid-range ones. Mono Black has a very bad match against Mono Red, and that's why the rise of Golgari Gardens. Because it's in essence Mono Black, but
with some nice little splash. The Gardens deck I like a lot. Yeah, the Gardens deck I like a lot. I think it's sweet. I need to play more of it.
It's very good. I will totally recommend it. It kind of has the same play pattern as Mono Black, but with the upside of having initiative as well as Monarch, both in the same deck. I recently was playing Fetics against them, and it was a very hard match. I ended up winning, but it was very horrible to play.
So talk about being on the competitive side and stuff in Magic. Has there been any other games or anything where you've competed on that kind of higher level?
StarCraft, Broad War. I was very good at StarCraft. And then oh no.
I don't
I had
matters, but
I had a yield old.
Oh.
But yeah, I was very good at StarCraft back in the day.
Never played StarCraft.
It's very fun. It was very fun. But then they upgraded to StarCraft 2 and they changed a lot of the dynamics.
So I feel like this could be a long match. Maybe. Hopefully. Probably not.
Maybe. I punted twice right now. I could have saved my ever-flowing chalice, and I didn't. But also, I could have cast Lemon Crusher last turn. I forgot about it.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do against a Crusher, that's for sure. So with this version of Tron, are you just like running like mono blue for like Mole Drifter and stuff into the Crusher, or like?
I was the idea of this deck was Firstborn with new Pyrexia will be one, because I wanted to have a way to utilize the proliferate mechanic. So I figured that if I could proliferate the overflow chalices, I could cast a very fast Ulamog Crusher or something among those lines.
Gotcha.
So then I decided to run it into mono blue because it's the color that has access to most of the tools. But it also really didn't require any other colors. I could splash green for Weather the Storm, but probably if I decide to put it into a more competitive side of things.
Yeah, I don't think I get out from underneath this Crusher. I'm pretty sure that just kills me.
Yeah, Crusher is a very powerful card.
But yeah, I don't think I get out from underneath it here. What advice though would you give to somebody who's like trying to achieve that Pro Tour invitation or something?
Probably don't try too hard on that, I guess. Because I know it really, because I know people that spend a lot of hours into testing for Pro Tours. But they get kind of like depressed when they don't achieve that part. So try to take it, if you are trying to take it seriously, prepare a lot, but don't means on that this is still just a game. Just don't take the fun out of it. Just trying to accomplish something that it's already something hard to happen. I don't know if it's that hard anymore because of all of the RCQs and things going on. I think in paper there are more possibilities right now, but it's very hard to qualify for the Pro Tour just on online like it was previously. But yeah, as a whole, it's just don't keep in mind that this is a game and that you can't take the fun out of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty super dead. The offering. It's like, what's the cat card? There's your avatar.
Oh, it's lucky offering.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
funny.
it popped up.
and I put it because back when I was trying to qualify for the Streets of New Capenna Pro Tour, it was the format qualifying for it was limited Neo, and Lucky Offering is a card for Neo. And I said, well, I need to change my avatar to get some luck. Well, this is Lucky Offering.
Right. Yeah, that was that second game was rough.
Yeah,
Ulamog's Crusher is
very impressive.
Yeah, Ulamog Crusher is such a sweet card. I love the Reanimator strats that run it. It's so much fun to like. Just Annihilator as a mechanic on its own is just such a sweet card, like such a sweet mechanic.
Yeah.
Is there any mechanics that you would want to see them to like go back to try to expand upon?
Yeah, Mutate. It's the first that comes to mind.
Mutate?
Mutate. I really love Mutate, and I really think they need to revisit it. Because the Mutate cards that are already there are not like, they're fine, but there aren't many. That's what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of cards that I mean, a lot of mechanics that have a lot of potential, but at the end they are not being played a lot because they are not very well supported. Don't going up that far away, like in Lord of the Rings, one of the mechanics is a scry, but there aren't many scry payers for it in common. Therefore, there are not many good decks that rely on scrying for pauper. Like I don't remember what's the name of this card. It's the green one that is for 1 mana. The 1 mana green that's scry 3. Then if there's a creature, you draw a card. The card is fine, but the decks
Can't remember
that
what that
want
one's
it.
called.
Someone mentioned it to me earlier. Let's see. It has elves in the name, but I don't remember. But anyways, that card is scry 3. If there's a creature card in your top of your library, you draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
In paper, seems great. But the decks that want it are probably just in the lines of creature heavy decks, like elves, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But the elves already have
Winding Way and stuff.
and lead the Stampede, so it kind of it's not as good unless scrying is a thing and it's a mechanic, which is in Lord of the Rings, but it's not a supported mechanic on Pauper. Elben Farsight, that's how it's called.
I just played with an energy deck yesterday, and I'm kind of like, I would like for them to go back to energy. I liked the Kaladesh standard a lot with energy.
I was saying that yesterday. Yeah, energy was. I mean, it was fine. Until then, you face in historic the Aetherflux Marble kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Aetherworks Marvel had a nice little loom over standard for a minute too, where it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
So they could just throw out, Emrakul the Promise End just out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, that's cool. I guess we're done here.
And now in historic, what they do is they put Ulamog Crusher and Milieu for a bunch. It's all a bunch of stuff.
What are like on Arena? What are like what's like the format to play there? Like if you're gonna be over there on Arena, like what's the format you enjoy the most?
Limited.
Limited.
Limited. It's very very good because it's something that is changing every month.
Mm-hmm.
Not every month, but they try to keep it flexible enough so people don't get bored. Even if a set lasts 3 months, they are always trying to change the quick drafts to go to throwbacks from previous sets, or throwing these queues, which is currently right now in Arena. They have a queue going on. So they are a bit changing those, so it's not a stall. Then if you're playing Constructed, probably Explorer. It's the closest to play Pioneer, so it's probably the one that I like the most.
I like how they
Because
even have
all of
like
the
similar names.
yeah, Explorer, Pioneer.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same. The idea is that Explorer pool is going to be the same as Pioneer pool, but there are still a few cards that are left from there, like Bring to Light or Urborg, Term of Jamat. It's not there still in Arena.
Do you think limited formats are better on Arena than on MTGO?
No, because they are the same. And to be honest, the Vintage Cube is way better than all of the cubes together in Arena. But again, we come again into what draws better views. I think Vintage Cube can have the potential to get more views on than something on Arena, but it's because of the tenure of like how powerful combination you can do there. But probably that's just the one. And again, like from a limited and an economy perspective, you can sell the cards you draft on Magic Online and get a profit on it. There was a time where if you open a Ragavan, wow, that's $50 that I didn't have.
Yeah. Or if you decide to buy Den of the Bugbear when it's like next to nothing in price because the set just came out, and the next thing you know, they're going for like $40+ a piece.
That's one of the ways I build my collection.
Yeah.
Just by buying a lot of cards that are probably worth nothing, and then and then sell them. I remember that I bought 4 Kenku artificers for like $3, all of the
It's
set
pretty
on
good.
Mike Online, and then I sell them for pretty close to 12 each when they rose.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think they're like at 8 or 9 right now a pop, so that's pretty good. I've done that
Yeah,
too, where it's like I've wanted a card for a deck, and then it's cheap, and then I get it, and then I'm not playing the deck anymore. Then it's like, oh, this card went up in value, sell to get other stuff.
yeah. I will advise probably sell everything on
Yeah,
NTO that you are not using. I mean, you can hold on to some cards, but
I hold on to a lot with Pauper just because most cards are like what 2 or 3 cents, so
yeah,
it's nice just to have that card pool. But yeah, like some of those like high end cards, like if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of stuff that I like runs Avenging Hunter, like I got all my Avenging Hunters for like under $1 when that set first came out because I thought it'd be a cool card to run in Jun Wildfire. And then now they're like $10, $11 a piece now, so it's like really tempting. But I also run it a lot, so it's like I better just hang on to this.
yeah. I didn't got them until they do the first ban on initiative,
Mm-hmm.
and then they skyrocket dropped until like $1. That's where I got 4 for $4.
Nice. Yeah, I think like when I got them, they were like for 4 of them, they were all under $1. Like they were like 4 or 5 cents a piece. I think is when I got them.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of the most precious card I have right now. It's probably a Snuff Out.
It's what is it?
A Snuff Out.
Oh, snuff out. Yeah, snuff outs are expensive. I don't
I
know how
like
much they go for
11
anymore.
right now or something around
Are
that.
they? Yeah, those are. The one of the first decks I invested in Pauper was mono black control, so I was like, makes sense to have snuff outs.
Mhm.
I've had them ever since.
Yeah.
I still only have 3 though. I've never bought the 4th one, so
Oh yeah, that was interesting because I was in the same place a long time ago. I always had 3, and then one day I built my collection and I was like, well, I need the 4th one. I'm
mm-hmm.
not gonna ever play it, but I need it, so I bought it at some point.
Right. That's what like anytime like I'm building a new deck or looking at a list a viewer submitted or something, like I pretty much just try to buy 4 of the cards like out of the gate and just be like, I need them. It's like in case you
Yeah,
need 4 if they're cheap. I mean, if they're a little bit more expensive, I don't think I go with the 4, but like a lot of the times they're like 2 or 3 cents and it's like you might as well just get 4 to have just in case. Build up a
yeah.
nice little commons collection. But is there any last like things you would want to say to anybody who may not know what your channel is or what you do, or also where to find you?
So yeah, well, first, thanks for the opportunity of, of having me here
Thanks for doing it.
again.
Super appreciate it. It's fun.
No, anytime. I'm more than happy to do this kind of things. You can find me at David Royale YouTube and David Royale 14 on Twitter. What I do basically is just a lot of pauper brews and probably and try to showcase that uh, even uh, even brews can still win the games, and pauper has a lot of room for brewing. So my advice for everyone watching or listening this is never let anyone tell you that a card sucks. Just try to prove them wrong. Every card has a place, and every brew has a day to shine.
Nice positive outlook. So I think we're good here then.
Cool. Sounds good.
I just want to say thank you again to David. If you want to check out any of his stuff, all of his links will be down in the description down below, along with my links as well. He makes great content, and I highly recommend checking out his channel. I also love the fact that he's been tinkering around with Mono Red Sacrifice a little bit, giving us some suggestions, so I super appreciate that. If you want to support him, like I said, all of his links will be in the description down below. And if you want to support me and my channel, all the links will be down in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed this week's player profile, and I'll catch you next time. Take it easy. Peace.